Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers will practically build themselves.
Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv. Welcome to the Kit Hoarder Stash, and today I got a ship. It's been a while since we've done a ship, and this one's an oldie but a goodie. This has been out, I want to say 20 plus years, because I remember selling these at the old Great Models hobby when I was an assistant manager there. This is the Trumpeter 1/350th scale USS Essex. Let's take a look at it. This one is shrink wrapped for your pleasure, and we're going to take care of that right now. We're going to open this puppy up. I have a pretty good collection of 350th scale aircraft carriers. As you may know, the Enterprise, the Hornet, the Yorktown, the Saratoga. When the Midway comes out, first of 2024, I plan on getting one of those. That's going to be huge, but I kind of need to bridge that gap, if you will. We'll do that with an Essex class carrier. So let's open this thing up. This is a huge box. It says it's 610 pieces. This might be interesting to try and open. Now, I don't think this kit's been out. I think it's been out of production for a while. I'm not 100% sure. I know this particular one, because I know who I sold it to, and I know who I got it from. Was purchased in 2001. There we go. Because I'm the one that sold the guy this kit. So here's our instructions. Now there's two kinds of Essex class carriers. There was a longer hull, which I think started with CV-12 or 13. I'll have to check my resources again. I don't have it all up here anymore. But this is what's called the shorter hull. This actually made it into the Pacific at a very crucial time when we were very short on aircraft carriers. So here's the parts breakdown, and you can see there's a lot of parts. And your weapon sprue, and your aircraft, your deck, your stand, and the hull. Putting the hull together, some of the things on the lower part of the hull. Here we are, still working on the hull and the hangar decks. Still working on the hangar decks. A lot to this thing. I mean, we're on step 10, and we're just barely getting to the weapons that we're putting on the hull. Still more to the hull with the weapons, underside of the flight deck. Finally getting the flight deck on step 13. Well, that's interesting. I must be missing something, because all of a sudden it goes from step 13 to step 21. No, that's supposed to be 14. Putting the 20 millimeter gun galleries in, and then putting the rest of the guns on the deck. Radars in, your island and then finally putting the island on the deck. Putting the screws on the bottom along with the rudder, and then finally off to build the aircraft. Got some XF, 6Fs, and some TBFs to go on the flight deck. And then some SBDs. So looks like it's got a correct air group. That's pretty neat. Let's see what else we got in here. Got a paint guide, which I take with a grain of salt, but anyway, gives you some idea of what they want you to do. Okay, we'll start opening up sprues now. Let's look at the hull. They say I built the Lexington, and that's a big carrier in this scale. And typical of Trumpeter, they give you the waterline version if you want, or you can have the full hull. Look at the length of this. Good sized hull. Looks like it seems to fit pretty good, which is nice. That's a plus. Let's open the decals up. Like here we have decals for the aircraft and decals for the carrier. Wow, lots of trash. Okay, looks like some of our upper hull galleries. One of the gun galleries here and here, and they all look really good. And more galleries, a little bit of flash here, which is interesting. This was a new tooled kit when it came out. And your hanger decks, or your hangers. A lot of parts to this. It wasn't joking, 600 plus parts. It's going to be a major build. I didn't think it was going to be quite this involved. For the flight deck. Let's see. All right, now the engraving on the flight deck looks superb. The hold downs, the anchors, whatever you want to call them, they look great. The wood grain looks really good, and it's hard to see in this picture, but man, it sure looks good. And yes, this was 2002. Sorry, not 2001, 2002 when it came out. This kit hasn't seen the light of day in that many years. 21 years. This has been lurking in a storage unit. Now let's look at the base here. A typical Trumpeter base, which there's nothing wrong with that. And the Essex nameplate. Your weapons sets. It looks like there's two of these sprues. typical Trumpeter 20 millimeter. Toss those and go get you some Black Cat 3D printed ones. That would be my suggestion. Or Kraken. Kraken makes some great 20 millimeters, but yeah, I would toss these. Some 40 millimeter. Looks like these are without the gun shields, which I'd have to research and see if the Essex class hit the water with gun shields or not. These are without gun shields, 20 millimeter or 40 millimeter guns. Looks like some 525s, 538s. I can't tell on those. But here's your 538 dual purpose here and here. The screws, ship screws, and some antenna arrays that are, should be photo etch. They do the best they can with plastic. But there's 2 of those sprues. Wow. More deck. This is the lower deck. The bow section. And the aft section. The midship section of the hangar. And some really good detail. Some really good detail in this. So I do give them some points for that. Definitely. Some good detail. Okay, one more. Looks like one more bag of sprues here to open. And here we have the elevators. And it looks like the one piece fell off. And part of the bridge works. And the rudder, that's a big old rudder. And here's the bridge. And a couple of gun tubs. So, okay, well that's it for the ship itself. Let's take a look at the aircraft. These were supposed to be F6Fs. Let's see how many of them there are. Okay, looks like there's 4 of these. And they look fine. F6F-3. They look fine. You can either build them with the wings folded or the wings out. That's good. So 4 fighters. It looks like you're going to get 4 of each. 4 fighters, 4 of the TBMs or TBF. And it's got clear parts with it. Again, wings folded or non-folded, so that's good. And then the Dauntless, which I already have several of from the other carriers. I like how they did this plastic tree. You got a little clear section here, got the black section for the propeller and the wheels, and then the body of the aircraft here. So for each of those aircraft. And there you go. Well, all right, this will be a fun one to work on over the winter. I anticipate this is probably going to be a couple of year project because I'll get to a certain point and stop and finish it up another time like I do so many of these other ships. But it should be a great, once it's finished, a great stopgap in my collection. So thanks for joining us today, folks, and we'll see you again soon on The Stash.